Hello and welcome everybody to today's Gold and Silver Club presenting the Commodities Corner, presented by myself, Phil Carr, at the Gold and Silver Club. This is a post non-farm payroll special. We've got a lot to cover today. We've had some interesting moves on the markets. There are some setups which are lining up right now. So we'll take a look at those very shortly. This live session will, of course, cover a review of the commodity markets this week. We'll look at our top trade of the week. We'll be doing live technical analysis and trading, identifying highly profitable trade setups. We'll look at the week ahead, the key events we need to pay attention to looking forward. The 6 major news announcements you need to pay attention to for your commodities trading, and of course answering any questions you may have today as well. So the big news has come in. The US job market bounces back with 192K jobs in March. So the US economy added fewer non-farm payroll jobs than expected in March, but showed continued improvement. So while the national unemployment rate held steady, it missed expectations. So the world's largest economy gained 192,000 non-farm payrolls in March compared to expectations of 200,000 and the previous month's 175,000. The national unemployment rate, meanwhile, stayed at 6.7%. The data supported sentiment that the US economy is on its way to a full recovery, boosted by the Institute of Supply Management, the ISM Non-Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, the PMI, released earlier this week, which pointed to a strong turnaround from the heavy winter that stunted economic growth. So from a technical perspective, the figure fell below the estimate of 200,000, triggering a sharp sell-off in the US dollar index initially, and we have seen a breakout on gold. We're just shy of $1,300 an ounce right now. We'll take a look at that very, very shortly. Okay, so before we start, we go into the technicals. We look at the top trade of the week. I'm Phil Carr, professional trader, trainer, and speaker. I'm the co-founder and director of the Gold and Silver Club. I specialize in teaching people how to make money from trading the most lucrative financial markets in the world. So gold, silver, oil, the commodity currencies. I've trained thousands of individuals to become independent traders and successfully manage their own investment portfolio, responsible for the research and development of the Gold and Silver Club trademark strategies that have a proven track record of generating returns for traders. Also a regular contributor to a number of financial publications, speak at numerous trading seminars, webinars, and workshops. Joining me in running the Gold and Silver Club is Nik, professional trader, investment analyst, and speaker. Nik began his career within private wealth management in 2002 before making the transition into proprietary trading. Prior to co-founding the Gold and Silver Club, Nik spent over 5 years coaching professional fund managers and traders internationally for some of the world's top-tier hedge funds and investment banks. So through his first-hand relationship with some of the world's most successful traders, discovered the formula, mindset, and tools that can give any individual the definitive edge to trade in any economy. Also regularly writes for a number of global business and financial publications. We've appeared frequently on financial TV. That's some background on the Gold and Silver Club for you. So we are going to just take a look at the gold price right now. Okay, we're currently trading at $1,298 an ounce. So we'll take a look at the technicals very shortly for you as well. The top trade of the week this week using the Gold and Silver Club signature trading strategies has actually been a beautiful setup we got on Brent crude oil just yesterday. We came down to major level of support, bounced off the 103.95 level, major trend line as well. And just very simple trade there, 104.92, entry to be higher on the Brent crude oil, higher lower trade, and that just delivered nicely. Just the trade finished 1 pip higher and produced a nice payout. It's our top trade this week, Brent crude oil. Also, we've had some nice trades here on the non-farm payroll announcement. So we are going to flip over to the screens very shortly to my live charts. We'll be looking at the rise and fall trades on Binary.com. So very simply, if you select rises, you win the payout. If the market exit price is strictly higher than the entry price, if you select falls, you win the payout if the market exit price is strictly lower than the entry price. Okay, so we're just going to move over to my screens and get that ready for you. Just bear with me whilst we get that ready. what this means is if we get a break lower here below the 80.46, this will be, we'll see a bullish move for gold. If we continue to rise above, and there's a very key level above here, which is the 200-day moving average. If the US dollar index finishes and can come back above the daily high here and get a break above 80.05, this will be bearish for gold, and it will stop really gold in its tracks from getting above the 1300 level. So it's very important to use this as really an inverse correlation to the gold price. So this current candle, the 4-hour candle, is coming close to closing soon. What we'll have a look at here is these key levels. If we get a break above 80.75, I'm looking for a bearish move on gold to break lower. If we get a break below 80.48 to the downside here on the US dollar index, I'm looking for gold to break out to the upside. Okay, that's what we're looking for in terms of the inverse correlation. Let's just take a look at gold at the moment. Gold has, in fact, managed to have a nice breakout today. We were anticipating a breakout from here above the 1295. You can see, in fact, where we've just spiked up here. We've come up to the 1302 level, but we are retracing a little bit. If we go into the 1 hour time frame at the moment, you'll see we've come up to a level of resistance. We're getting a little bit of sell-off at the moment. We'll come back to that. You can see this trend line, which was developing prior to non-farm payroll. We did get a nice spike on the non-farm payroll. So what we're looking for now is the after move. So we got the pre-move before non-farm payroll. We got the whipsaw during the actual announcement, and now we're looking for the aftermath. So that's what we're looking at in terms of our top trades. One of the best trades we can see lining up at the moment is actually a sell short here on the wheat market. We like this very much for a sell short. We've actually come down again. We failed to break above yesterday's high, and I'll take a look at that very shortly with you in terms of the setups from the wheat sector. We'll take a look at that very shortly. We'll have a look at the other metals here. We did get a spike to the upside on silver on the daily. We broke above the 2015 level. We'll just have a look at the 4-hour time frame as well. You can see silver is actually retracing at the moment as well after that initial move, correlating with the US dollar index, finding a little bit of support, inversely correlating. Copper at the moment, we had a really nice V-shaped reversal pattern. Those of you who caught last week's webinar, we did have a nice breakout in copper to the upside. We've continued to break out of that V-shaped reversal. You can see that triangle and that V-shape that we've broken out to the upside. We're at 3.048. Well, there might be some scope actually to take an additional trade on copper at the moment as we continue to grind upwards. This is a pretty good swing trade that we've got here on copper as we're working our way out of a bottom at the moment on the market. If we take a look at Australian US dollar, Australian US dollar has been one of the main plays of today. We had a nice breakout. We had a nice precision setup a little bit earlier on today from an entry of 0.92525, giving us a really nice solid breakout. And the next level we're looking at here is a 0.93025 level. We'll come back to that on Australian US dollar. We do actually, WTI is a trade which I want to take now. We've actually got above a specific entry point we were looking for here. We've got above the 106.75 level. This is a nice setup which we're seeing. We got our initial setup, our top trade of the week, which we've got on the Brent crude oil was yesterday, where we had a break above 104.85. That was just a very simple rise trade for the price to be higher. We continue to find support at this trend line. We've got a very important trend line here, which got supported just midweek. Brent has actually just managed to ever so slightly get above the last two previous 4-hour trades here, 4-hour time frames. We're looking to get into this position for a breakout this afternoon above the 107 level. So this is actually quite a nice setup that we've got at the moment. And I'm happy to take that. Based on the 1 hour here, you can see this nice little trend which is forming on the 1 hour as well. We can go a little bit tighter into that here. And typically we do tend to see bullish moves, certainly this year so far, on the oils. We've had a lot of bullish breakouts on the Friday, especially if you've caught some of our commodities corners this week. So this is a trade that I'm happy to take. Got a slightly better price on Brent at the moment. So I'm just going to bring this across to the commodities market. Start trading. We're going to go to commodities, oil. And we just want that to update with the Brent crude oil price. In fact, we'll go through. I want to have a look at the index as well. We've got an 89% payout at the moment on Rise on oil. Let's just check that out. 89%. Okay, that's reasonable. We're going for 2,500. See how far we can go out on this at the moment. Okay, 4 hours. See if we can get out 5 hours. No, 4 hours. Okay. Okay, before I take that, let's just go back to the setup. So at the moment, we've got a nice upward trending channel here on Brent. We did bottom out on a major trend line yesterday. It's a position that we caught yesterday as well. We've not moved much today on oil in terms of its daily volatility. Normally, we do expect to see oil move in the range of 150 to 200 points per day. We'll just break it down into the 1 hour. We've got an area of consolidation here. We've just broken above this with this current candle here. You know, we've been hovering about this just prior to non-farm payroll. We've spiked above, got a slightly better entry as we continue just to grind higher here. So I'm looking to take on Brent crude oil, start time 13.50, get best price 4 hours time. Nice 91% payout now for a rise trade. I'm going to take that for a $2,500 US payout on Brent. Okay, perfect. Okay, we can come back to that one, but this is where we've taken the trade here at 106.74 on Brent. I'm just going to check out WTI. WTI was a nice little breakout a little bit earlier on non-farm payroll. You can see again the WTI market following this trend line really nicely here with WTI. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3 bounces off major Fibonacci levels, and we just go into the 4 hour and just zoom out on here as well. We have put in a nice rally here. We've broken above the 101 level. There's not really too much resistance here on WTI. Got a slight little bit of resistance at the 101.50, around 101.50 level, but I would see WTI now rallying up to the 102 level. We've got a whole cluster of Fibonacci just above from 101.96 up to 102.21. I do also see WTI getting higher here. What you can do if you want to get exposure to both Brent and WTI is I'm going to go to the sectors. I'm going to the crude index. And we'll look at the contracts that we've got here, crude index. Okay, 81% payout. So that gives me exposure to both WTI and Brent crude oil, which are on a move at the moment. I don't see really WTI slowing down here until we get really to this neckline at 101.50 and also the 102 level. Brent is moving nicely as well at the moment. So I'm looking to get exposure to both here as we get a typical Friday rally here. So I'm looking for just a very quick trade, 2 hour trade. The price only needs to finish 1 point higher with the WTI and Brent crude oil index here, and we will win the trade. So win the entire trade. Just need to go out for a slightly 10-minute ahead contract at 13.55. I'm going to purchase that contract. Okay, 2,500, 81% payout. Good, that's been done. Okay, so that's what we're looking at in terms of WTI and Brent. We can actually see this correlation playing out at the moment on natural gas market as well. So let's just take a look at this. So the natural gas market is starting to actually get a bit of a breakout above its downward trending trend channel. It's been in actually really since the beginning of February here. This bodes well for WTI and Brent actually, this breakout that we're seeing on natural gas at the moment. We do certainly see a correlation between those markets. We're going to the 4 hour at the moment. You can see, again, we do have a little bit of a trend channel forming here on, there you go, nice and clear there, on natural gas as well, as we continue to get a breakout. I'd like to see, we'll see if we can do it during the course of this webinar. I'd like to see 4.480 taken out here with natural gas. But we are breaking out of that downward trending trend channel at the moment. So we'll come back to natural gas. We'll take a look at that. I do like the wheat. Wheat has done it. Fantastic. Been waiting for this trade all day, no joke. Wheat at the moment is now confirmed to sell short. This is a beautiful trade. Okay, let's get down to the wheat market, and I'll give you some information on this at the end of the webinar. We are doing a special webinar dedicated to the wheat market this month in April. I'll put the link there towards the end of the webinar so you can all join us for that. How to trade wheat on Barney.com. We'll go into more details. Fantastic commodities trade. Let's just get the best price on that. That's nice. 81% payout. So check this out, right? So we have now confirmed on the weekly there, you've got a nice inverse hammer. We broke low. We're just breaking through a major level of support and a Fibonacci level. On the daily time frame here on wheat at the moment, we've just actually broken through this major level of support. That has not got any support now until the 200-day moving average. Trust me, this is a very good level that we've just broken on wheat here. Not giving any sort of financial advice. It's just a trade that I'm personally taking, but this is a trade that I like. For me, it's an A-class setup. So I'm going to get into that for a sell short here on wheat and 81% payout. I'm just going to go for that before it moves too much. Brilliant. So we've got exposure to wheat. I mean, it's fantastic to get exposure like this on a platform like Barney.com where you can just trade through the index and you can very easily get exposure to a market like wheat where you don't need too complicated platform and you don't need to be in a huge lots in order to trade it. So very straightforward. There's a sell short on wheat at the moment. That's looking really good right now. You can see all the MAs turning bearish. We've broken through support. We can see here we've just been triggered into that already anyway. And I'm looking just for the market to come down. Next Fibonacci 641 below that, which brings us down. It's a nice about 200 points on that. And we just need the market to finish 1 point lower to win the entire trade. So wheat, definitely the top trade of the moment. We'll take a look at the US dollar index. Yeah, finding a bit of support. It's a bit muted at the moment. The US dollar index currently, you've got a bit of a dragonfly doji forming, certainly a doji. I'd like this candle to close and see which way we're going to break on that. Gold at the moment just consolidating around the 1300 level. I would say the move was a little bit earlier. We actually caught a breakout here above 1295. We're currently at 1298. We spiked up to 1302. We're finding a little bit of trouble to close above the 200 at the moment. I want to see how this 4-hour candle closes at the moment on gold. Really like those WTI and Brent trades though. So gold at the moment, we have got a breakout above the 1294, which is looking good. We're getting a bit of a retracement at the moment. I've put it down into the 1 hour time frame. What I'd like to see, you can see again, little doji here forming. I want to see which way this is going to break. So this little doji was just forming at the moment. Doji just means the price is opening and closing at the same price. So you can see it's opened, come up to 1300, come back down to 1296, right in the middle at the moment. So interested to see where that's going to land very shortly. Let's just take a look. So wheat, sell short. Coffee at the moment, I really want to see whether we're going to get a breakout on coffee in either direction. So we're either going to see a breakout above 180.52 or we'll get a break below 165.76. I'd like to see which way we're going to break out on that. On the weekly, we've got a nice hammer set up there, which is developing on the weekly. Could give us a nice swing trade next week. So I'll let that play out and I'll let that fully form. Natural gas does look like it's breaking out. I mean, we've got some exposure to the energies through Brent and WTI here. I'd like to see it take out 4.480. It's not doing that yet. Australian US dollar, it's a little bit late to get into this trade. We've already got a setup on this at the moment. Here you've got my entry point. So we just continue to stay long that. There's not a setup right now on Australian US dollar. It does tend to be correlated to gold. V-shaped reversal on copper here. And silver, it did get a little bit of a spike above the 2015 level, but it's retraced a little bit. Interested to see how silver is going to close today. So really top trades at the moment that we like. The gold and silver club would be Brent WTI, and certainly probably the top trade here is wheat for a sell short as it breaks down through support. So that's looking really good here for a nice sell short. What I'll do next, I'll go into the major news announcements that we need to keep a look at in the week ahead. So we've got 6 major news announcements. We just had non-farm payroll today, so that's been a very lucrative trading opportunity, a very high impact news announcement. And the top trades we're seeing at the moment, sell short wheat and some long on the energies. Let's just go over to the major news announcements, the 6 major news announcements we've got next week as well now. Okay, and before we do that actually as well, if you haven't received this before, you're taking half an hour out of your day to actually come on this webinar, learn a little bit more about commodities, improve your own trading, and your action is rewarded. You can get $20 or £20 trading credit to your Binary.com account. If you haven't received this before, it's worth taking advantage of. It's just bonus code 11121F20. Just go to Binary.com, select sign up, open a real money account, enter that bonus code, and you'll automatically be credited £20 or $20 trading credit for your binary.com account. So if you've not received that before, worth to get that. Let's look at the 6 major news announcements as we go into next week. So we've already had the non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll figures have come out as discussed at the beginning of the webinar. Now, the other major news announcements we have next week, Wednesday, 9th of April. So you want to note this down. US crude oil inventories. That is at 3:30 p.m. GMT, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That data reports the number of barrels of crude oil commercial firms have in their inventory. So commercial firms report those levels to the Energy Information Administration on a weekly basis. What you tend to see on the Wednesday on this announcement is that the bigger the reading, the better, okay? So the bigger, if they've got a huge surplus of oil, you're likely to see Brent crude oil, WTI, sell off. If it's the other way around and there's a deficit of oil, they haven't got enough in inventories, the bigger the gap between what was predicted and what actually comes out, the better the trade setup we normally get. So if they've got a surplus, you tend to see the oil price go down. If they haven't got enough oil in inventories, particularly if they fall short a lot, there's a big shortfall, you'll see oil spike. That's every Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. GMT, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Next week, we also have Thursday, 10th of April, the US Import Price Index. That's at 1:30 p.m. GMT, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The Import Price Index measures the change in the price of imported goods and services purchased domestically. So a higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the US dollar, and a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the US dollar, which of course inversely affects gold and silver. Then the other 3 major news announcements you need to watch for the commodity, these are as follows. We've got Thursday, the 10th of April, US natural gas storage. So that's the Energy Information Administration, the EIA natural gas storage report, measures the change in the number of cubic feet of natural gas held in underground storage during the past week. So whilst that is a US indicator, it does tend to have a greater impact on the CAD as well. The US dollar, Canadian dollar, just due to their sizable energy sector, but it will have the biggest impact, of course, on US natural gas, which is also tradable through the indexes here, the sectors. Then we have Friday, we have the US PPI. Okay, so the PPI is the Producer Price Index. That's at 1:30 p.m. GMT, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That measures the change in the price of goods sold by manufacturers. It's a leading indicator of consumer price inflation. It accounts for the majority of overall inflation. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the US dollar. A lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish for the US dollar. And then we have Friday, the 11th of April, 2:55 p.m. GMT, 9:55 Eastern Time, the Michigan Consumer Sentiment. The University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index rates the relative level of current and future economic conditions. There are 2 versions of this data released 2 weeks apart, the preliminary and the revised. The preliminary data tends to have a greater impact. A higher than expected reading should be taken as bullish for the US dollar, and a lower than expected reading should be taken as bearish, and that has an inverse correlation to gold and silver. So those are the major news announcements we want to watch out for, the 6 major commodity announcements. Now, it's a good time to mention that we do have a very special webinar for you. We'll be hosting live on the 23rd of April. It's going to be at 7 p.m. London time, 6 p.m. GMT. This whole webinar is dedicated to trading wheat and the commodities. I'm just going to drop down the link into the chat here, guys, so you'll be able to see that. Make sure you join us for that. Wheat is an incredibly lucrative market to trade. We'll be going through that in more detail with you, the fundamentals, the seasonality, what affects it with the weather, the top trade setups at the moment. You can see we've got a sell short on that right now. Also, for those of you who'd like to join the Gold and Silver Club live trading room program, trading news announcements with us live, join us for our regular live trading room slots throughout the week. You can find out more about that in our upcoming Gold and Silver Club workshops in April. Very simply, here are the numbers on the screen. We've got the London, so depending on which time zone you're in or which location, you can call us either at our London office, our New York office, our Johannesburg office, or our Budapest office. So on the numbers on the screen there. So do get in touch with us to find out more about that. You can request information on the live trading room program very simply. Also, just go to www.jointhegoldensilverclub.com or email us at office@thegoldensilverclub.com too. So make sure you get in touch for more information if you're keen on that. And also make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. You will get with that your free gold, silver, oil, commodities news every single week, live market analysis and prices. So make sure you take advantage of that. And make sure you join us for the webinar, the next one, which is going to be held on the 23rd of April on wheat. Okay, good. So with that, guys, that is a wrap for today's session. We've got some interesting setups this afternoon. I can already see at the moment, and in fact, the Brent and WTI are on the rally at the moment, and wheat is setting off, so it's looking good for those trades I've just taken. So I wish you good luck for your trading today. We will definitely catch you back here same time next week. Have a great weekend. Thanks to Banu.com for putting another great session today, and we'll catch you all on the next one, guys. So take care. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you then. Okay, cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.